Hi, and welcome to the Life of Crafting. This is Kristen, and this is my foray into the world of YouTubing and blogging, and yes, the lighting is bad and all that, but I'm going to just start. I want to bring to you today 22 styles of cards I made from the Stampin' Up! It was the Night Before Christmas pack. So I have a whole slew of them, and while I'm describing, I also tell you these were made as a giveaway for me to use in our online retail store called Kristen's Great Find. So you may catch on the back of some of these a logo for these, and I'm looking at, okay, here's one. You may see that, and that's why. I used these purely for branding purposes because my intent was to give these away. So my other intent is, in buying and making these products, I want to get the most bang for my buck, in the sense I want a beautiful card, something that people want to give away, because I am using the logo. So I want people to pass these cards to someone and get the name out there. But I'm also looking, how many can I get out of it and still make them look beautiful, not look like something that was handmade and cutesy and you just say, oh, that's lovely, and then you just never use it. So my world into the Stampin' Up! Night Before Christmas started with this card that I made at a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator night. This was back in 2019, and she had brought this card as one of the three for us to make, and I just fell in love with the just vibrant colors, the cute Santa, the layers. This is made by Gail Murray, and she loves her layers. So this card is actually her design, and I replicated more of them to use for my personal cards this year. And she used the puff paint on it and glitter. So this was a lot of time on this, and used up a lot of that paper for the layer. So that left me with scraps. So having made this card, I went online and I found other ones, and that led me to the next style, which is the second style. What I came to find out when I found this one was this wasn't just the paper pack from this and the stamp and the die from that suite, but now this was an add-on pack that you had to buy. So it was the envelopes, and this card base was one, and then they had stickers and somebody call it like journaling cards or whatever. That was this piece. So I didn't get that at first, because by that time I realized it was after the fact, and I didn't know that I was going to need this, because I hadn't gotten the whole paper pack from going to the class in October and buying it. So I went online and found that in the first quarter of 2020, before COVID and all that lovely stuff happened, they were running a huge sale on blowing out these items as well as the paper pads. So I will tell you, I bought like a slew. When I'm telling you, like, I had like 10 or 12 of everything when I was done. I say that in the sense that I got hundreds of cards, but I still believe you could get one paper pack, one thing of these cards, and you don't even really need this card. I think if you just took a piece of cardstock and just was able to white heat emboss the whatchamacallit, the stars on there, you could probably recreate this without having to buy that pack. But this is now beyond, I'm now at the end of the season of 2020, so you really are only going to find this if you bought it yourself or off of like eBay. But I still think this was going to show you how you can use the paper to come up with a lot of stuff. So this die was part of the old one from last year, and I used, this was from that pack as well. It was a very simple card to make. I just loved the fun look of it, and I thought, okay, that was a has to make. So this led me into having now bought pretty much everything from this suite. So that was the second style. And then I found this online, and I was like in love with the fact of it being this like fancy full kind of interactive card. So this was one that when I went to make it though, you really use up almost that whole piece of paper that was this one here with the Santa through the night. And the back had that like green in there. So from the scraps that were left from that, I did use on the inside of this one, because I told you Gail had used a lot of layers and I didn't want to use up all of my cardstock with all her layers and stuff. So I had added the scraps in on the inside of this one here. And like I said, that pretty much used up this entire sheet of paper from doing these fancy folds. So that paper out of the pack was pretty well used up. And then one of the other cards I fell in love was this one, and I fell in love with the reindeer. And that was when I was knowing, like, I have to get the extra pack, between liking this card here, the Dear Santa card, add-on, and then the reindeer. I said, okay, you know, I'm gonna get them. This was, again, a lot of pieces that I really was not prepared for when I made it, because I had to find this die, and this was Tailored Expressions. Had this like Nordic Fair Isle kind of design to put in there. And then I believe it's the holly that backs up to the green. So you pretty much use almost all of this sheet of paper in making this style. So I didn't have a lot of scraps of this one either. But because I bought so many pads and stuff, I made as many cards as I could using up this reindeer. So I did have some extra sheets of this left over after making this card, because I didn't buy equal number of stickers to how many paper pads I had. And I just did a real basic inside. So some of these I didn't even write inside, because again, I was doing it for giveaways and I didn't want the message to be not something that they wanted to use. So there's 4. The next one I knew I had to make was this one. I really loved the scenery of this. It just seemed fun. It seemed great for someone wanting to use, because I sell a lot of things for people in the home decor, but I also sell a lot of kids clothing. So this was a good one for me, I felt, to use with either age group. And it was one of those papers that when you looked to how to use this online, there was not a whole lot of cards to give you inspirational ideas, and I liked this one. It was, like I said, it was on Pinterest, and I apologize to whoever's creation it was. It's not mine. This was a close to my heart Build a Santa, or Build a Snowman Stampin' dice that I had and had been wanting to use and never did. And this was just some old Doris embossing folder I used, if you can see, to give it the wind drift. But the paper pretty much beyond that sells this card, so that was great to me, to bang these ones out. What took time was the stamping and the die cutting, but really I didn't do a whole lot on that one. So that was the number 5, I think, style. So then the next one I knew I really loved this, and then I'll show you the next one. Someone had this on there. They did it with the peacock paper, and I'll be honest, I didn't get the pretty peacock cardstock in, so I wasn't able to do it with that. And they did this like puffy paint kind of thing on there, and I didn't have that. And I said, you know, I just got to make stuff with what I have. So the gingerbread man is from several years ago. I want to say like 3 or 4 years ago, from Stampin' Up. This, I was trying to get the Cup of Cheer, and I did not buy it in the year it came out, which I think was last year in 2019. So I did, from one of the Facebook sites, get the dies, which is where the candy cane came from, but I was not able to get the stamp set for that. I got the everyday one, but not the holiday one, because they were just completely outrageous in the price on eBay. So I said, forget it. And then I just hand cut marshmallows to put in there, because like I said, I'm trying to keep it simple, but I also want to make it nice. I want somebody to really use these cards. So that was another style, and I believe that's the 6th card. And the 7th card was another one I saw on Etsy, and I was like, Pinterest, I had to make it. I just loved how the strip that you get off of this one, pretty much you would get one strip left here, And that's it. This was the full sheet almost between these two style cards. So, you know, it was trying to place the best use of the paper. So I loved how you had the message coming out with the whipped cream in there. It allowed me to use up some of the stickers from Stampin' Up. I'm not usually very fond of the stickers and the sentiments, but I felt, again, it was close enough to these colors, but it wasn't distracting. Some of the stickers, because of their not matching up, just really distract. I didn't think that happened here. So I used, like I said, the everyday one, and this was just a snowflake I had in my stash from some other project, brand, whatever. So I was able to do this without buying that Christmas stamp that matches these cups. So my other thing is, you don't necessarily have to use theirs. I mean, I'm sure there's a million other things you may have in your stash that just gives you these cups. Again, I just fell in love with this from years past, but you may have something in your stash from that as well. The other thing I brought into this card that was here for years is this paper is a paper tray ink paper. It has a very faint print of music notes in the back. I didn't want just white paper. I thought it needed a little bit something else. You probably could just get away with something white or do something tone on tone. This again is me. I'm also trying to use up stash. I'm in the midst of one of my videos coming up as I'm going to show you is I'm in the midst of redoing my whole craft area. I'm trying to make myself a studio. So part of the deal is I need to use up and get out old stuff that I don't see in my future. And this is something I've owned for years. I'm finding ways to use it up and getting it out. I'm sure you can relate to that one. So then now I'm going into, okay, what is left? So this is the next card, and I said, okay, now I need to start using what's left. This was the main sheets that I wanted to use. Like I said, I used for this one a lot of the tree. I used in this one mainly the holly. This one was the one with Santa flying. I've used up the one with the background scene of the trees, like a tree farm, and I used up the hot chocolate. So now I'm like looking at what I had left, and I had some remnants of this, some remnants of this, and these are now starting to use some different card sketches that you can find online that are free. When I had done my snowman, I mass-produced a lot and colored, so I was able to use up in this sketch and this design some of the pre-colored Santas that I made, and it also let me use up some of these stickers that were in there, because my goal was I don't want to get to the end of this and have anything left. I want everything gone. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is my 8th style card that we came out with. So then it left certain papers, and if you start looking online, the navy in this paper pack is beautiful, but there's not a lot done with it that you can find. So I saw these from the current 2020 book, and I was like loving just the versatility of them. So in this paper pack, I was using as much as I can of this paper, because again, there's only so much that I felt you could do with any of this stuff. So I said, you know what, I want to use it for the full card front and use it up. This was just heat embossed with some copper embossing, and I used pencils and that Gambo, I think is called, to make sure I got the lines straightened out. And I just used a bunch of variety of colors. I mean, this paper pack's very forgiving in that. And then I just used, this is a Queen & Company die to give that stitching on there, and it's on copper foil. Nothing inside of this one. So that was, and I forget where this stamp came from. But again, anything you have with smaller ornaments would probably work. I just thought it was a nice presentation and used up the paper. But then I also had left some scraps, so I found this sketch. Because, like I said, it gave, I think that was the end of the paper pack that I used. So it left just like a strip down the side. This was a stamp set from the I think the Brightly Gleaming stamp set that they brought back in 2020 that was there in 2019. This was another paper that was in there because, again, to me, it just didn't really look Christmas. Like, what was I going to do with that? I thought it was a nice contrast to the busyness of the paper here, the sentiment, and then I just did some pearls where you take a Sharpie, and I used like a bronzy gold color, and I thought that came out as a good card to be something a little different. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, up to I think 9 cards here. Then Santa was just too cute in that paper pack that came with the add-on pieces of the little journaling cards. He was a huge piece. I want to say you would definitely have to make like a 5x7 card. I did see where some people put him on the front of this. He was very square and was basically a bigger version of this. I really hemmed and hawed because I didn't know what I wanted to do with him, but when I saw this sketch, I was like, it was a way to use the best elements in that paper without taking up and making this huge card. So I was able to use up some of my scraps. This star paper, I believe, was on the back of this one with the snowman. So I didn't have a whole lot of that scrap, so it fit really good here. And again, I only had used a little piece of this dotted paper on here. So it gave me a good balance of colors to bring in. Stampin' Up! Doesn't always make it easy to do some of these sketches because they do bring in so many different colors. So I thought this sketch worked out well because he's got color going on. And it also allowed me to use up the stickers, wear these stickers, because my mission, like I said, when I get to the end of this paper pack, I want to make as many cards as I can make to use as a giveaway, and I don't want anything left. So this is letting me use that up. So that was, I think, my 10th card. Then I was challenging myself with what to do with more of this is one of those cards that are in there, and I thought I got to challenge myself on what to do with that. And this candy cane stripe one was in there as well, and what I'm doing is I'm layering this up because there's a sentiment, if I'm not, or an empty space in the center of this candy cane, and I really could not figure out like how or what I wanted to do with it. So I just stamped right on there. This was a, I think it was a recollection stamp, or it may have been one of an older Stampin' Up. This was part of it in there. I had to circle punch this out because they were much bigger circles. So I cut that down to make it a size that I could use. This is just some thin washi tape I found at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Using up one of those stamps. And then just some pine embossing folder that I've had and regular cardstock. Again, just want to get it out of here. And I thought how best to use these element pieces, and I thought it came out pretty good. Again, a little fun. I'd be happy to get that in the mail. Okay, so now this one. This is another one that was an element card on there, and it was slightly bigger than this, and I said, you know, again, I gotta get it to fit and give me some element on this card. So this paper was one I still had left. I don't remember what the other side was, but I've had some different things come this season. I treated myself to some stuff from Queen & Company, and I love their sentiments, and this was a die set that they had, how they stack on top of each other. I know a lot of people that want to tell you, you know, they want to show you cards and they just want to use Stampin' Up! Products. It just doesn't work for me all the time. There's things that you need. Like I loved this stitched and scalloped edge card front layer, and this is another one I believe was Queen & Company. So you know, you gotta get sometimes out there and look at different stuff. So I love to play on different colors. I opted to go with, it's got a little bit of like a texture to the school foil. Again, it was something I had as scraps. I said, let me use it up. So this was another card I made, and I think that's up to 12 now. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I gotta count better. So that's 12. So then we're up to 13, and I had some of the assorted papers left, and I thought, okay, let me find a sketch, and I did. I have a shimmer paper in my stash that I've had. I used it, it's a gold shimmer, and again, used different pieces to patch in. These were different sizes I had left, and this was an old holly punch and stamp set from Stampin' Up. And then I just fussy cut out Jingle All the Way. That was another one, I think from 2018, and just used some baker's twine I've had in my stash. Really cute. I just wanted to focus on Mr. Reindeer here. And I think that one was, again, another one that came off with that shimmer paper, looking a little more elegant than just putting cardstock on there, and using up a scrap. So that's 13. 14 is a little bit similar to the reindeer. This was another element that was the same as this element, but I still had some left, but scraps. Again, this is just pieced in. This isn't a full scrap. I used this star piece to hide where I'm piecing them together, and just did a flag to carry off the balance between these multiple layers of things, and try to bring in a sentiment for that, because it does get hard. The only thing I may have said I would have maybe changed is I did this on white. This paper pack lends itself very much to the ivory, so a lot of my card bases and stuff went ivory because of that. So maybe I should have used an ivory in the sentiment flag on that one. So that was 14. And then 15 was another, let me use up what I can. This was the stripe, and I don't remember what's on the back of the stripe. Oh, it was the red background with all the colored envelopes on it, and it just was too busy for me. I said, you know, I just didn't care for it, and I wanted to use up these. This was another card in the pack. If I had to redo this and I had the right thing, it probably would have been nicer if I had a longer or like a rectangular stitch die, and I didn't. So it kind of cut off. I was trying to keep the elements of the message in there. I did a red shimmer paper as a base on that. Just to, again, I'm trying to use up some of these papers I have. The red shimmer paper is trying to use up, but bring it in to make it look, you know, elegant, and also not try and add a lot of bulk to the card. I don't know what I had falling over there. So that was 15. So 16, I have two versions, because it's almost the same identical card, using things up in my stash. Well, now I'm looking, they are different. This one is a card sketch where you get one strip. This is a different strip, but then you have a smaller piece in here. This was, if you look, probably a piece off of one of them. These are probably two different pieces, but this is a scrap piece of paper here. This is a Honeybee Stamps. It's a stamp set, and then sold separately is the matching dies to cut out around the words, but also to give you that frame. And then I just used up a scrap of green shimmer paper. So this was actually a card sketch. This was a different one, but they do look kind of like the same. So I guess I'm going to get 20, I don't know, 24, maybe 23. This was just one strip. This is using up another Honeybee or Queen and Company die. This was a big card, almost looked like a postcard from this paper pack that has the stickers and all the element on it. And I just used a stitched oval die to cut down the sentiment, because I really did not need something that was a whole huge card front. So you can cut down and use to your elements, and that's what I did for this one. So I thought they were the same. So now this is a style of card that I found Christy Marcotte had shown on hers, where she likes to use up scraps. And I mentioned to you that when I did these ones, this was the one, and then you're left with one strip down the side, and this is the strip that was left. So I used, this is a Whimsy stamp die that gives you the border in this brown. It's almost like a craft color. I used some of the scraps I had left from here and cut those out. These are just a small snowflake die. I don't remember where I had it. And then this is the Queen & Company. I told you they're Stampin' die. It's probably the same thing I have on that one tree somewheres here, but I'm using it in a different capacity. Oh, that was when it said Santa Claus is coming to town. This is in the same, there's 3 of them, 3 sentiments that you can die cut, and then there's like 6 different stamps. So this is the same Queen & Company, and it just says Merry Christmas to you and yours. Unfortunately, the way I placed this down, I do have a little bit of red showing, but you shouldn't, if I had placed this correctly, you wouldn't have seen it. And I just used a red layer under there to build the whole scene on to make it easier to then put it on a card base. This one I did do in white because of the snowflakes. I didn't think they would look right in ivory. So there is another card using a piece of scrap and getting more out of that paper pack. Now these 3 styles are the same. And what you're seeing here is, let me push these out and then I'll do a final count. This is scraps. Every single one of these is scraps left over from one of the other cards. And if you look, they're not all the same size as far as the length. This one was longer, so it got to be placed there. It did take some coordinating so that, you know, like I wasn't getting too, you know, like cutesy with trying to put those together or these 2 together. And then they kind of blended. I tried to match them so that there was some contrast. This also let me use up more stickers in that sticker pack. I picked 1 sentiment. I said, you know, I'm going to use the 1 sentiment across all of them. This was one that was difficult for me because I didn't have that paper. I told you I didn't have that Pretty Peacock paper in yet. I did order it, but then it didn't show up and I didn't have it. So this allowed me to bring out that paper. I thought it was really cute. And I didn't have to have the matching cardstock for it. I just could use regular red cardstock. But all of these allowed me to bring the beautiful paper in and draw your eye to that pretty paper and let the paper tell a story. I didn't have to do anything really more. I probably could have added something on either one of these here, like I did with the candy canes here. I'll be honest, I was getting to the end of this paper pack and I was getting very tired of looking at this paper at this point, and I was just trying to rush them, and I'm not even done. I still have another 3 styles of paper or cards to go through. And I still have more scraps I could do more with, and I just put it up. I was like, I can't keep looking at this. This was another Christy Marcotte sketch that she shows a lot of, and it's one big layer, a smaller layer, and then doing this square to use up the square papers. And I picked these 2 to show you because this one is all the same 4 squares. There is not these are just, I think, 1.5 inch squares placed out. The Santas are ones I bought from Hobby Lobby. They sell them in a pack of 20. I think I got 20 of them for $2. To me, how much better can it get? I didn't have to color it. I didn't have to die cut it. I didn't have to stamp it. I didn't have to do anything other than put the adhesive on the back and put them on here. The reason I would like and would be using them here is because I'm not trying to match up Santas to Santas either, trying to get genres to genres. Meaning, like, I would have had a difficult time trying to match up these 2 Santas because they're not in the same. You've got a very vintagey detail and a more fun jolly. I couldn't have done it. But these papers are very forgiving in the sense that they're Christmassy, but they're not having to match up the detail of how you're going to show your Santa. So that was very forgiving. Just some strips to bring another color in. Could I put in a sentiment here? Sure, I could. Again, I told you I was getting to the end. I was getting tired. I thought it looked like there was enough going on, and I didn't want to busy it up anymore than it was, and I didn't want to add, you know, any more detail as far as like the holly leaves or anything that was going to add bulk. So I just let them go after this. Still not done yet, if you can imagine. Then I found this from Christy Marcotte. This is a, it's hard to see because I layered it color on color. There is, if you look right here, a border, and this, I believe, again, is a Whimsy die, and it has a stitched detailing in there. So I took all of the scraps that had any width to it. I believe these are a 1-inch opening, and I just kept pushing them through till I could get all of my scraps cut up, and then I just started placing them in so I could get different random colors. So you'll see papers in here, like this is the one with the letters all over. I never used that. Here's the other one with the letters in it. I never used the red stripes in any of those cards. These lights, I never used. The Santa hats. But you can use them in this way, and they come out, again, telling a story. This was just, you know, it wasn't the best cutting job I did, but I don't think it needed to be. Just flag the end. And then these were another Hobby Lobby purchase where I think I got like 50 of them on a sheet or something for like $2. It was cheap. The rubber that I cut out, you know, with the rhinestones on top, it was so simple, so easy. Used up all my scraps, and all I left with at that point was those tiny little strips that you say to yourself, like, what are you ever gonna do with? Here's what we did with them. Saw this from, I don't even remember one of them. I'm trying to think if it was coffee and cards or something, but I took a sheet of paper that was probably about the size of one of these card fronts, and I just started piling the strips on top of each other. I just layered them up, so it looked like just strips of paper all in one direction. And I just cut them in triangular shapes because, you know, you go this way and you're going to get this piece that's left here. You know, you cut this and then you can have one that went here. So you turn them all different directions. So what I did with this one was I took a piece of black cardstock and I just flicked gold acrylic paint onto, I had a big box, you know, like Amazon box or whatever. Laid the sheet in the bottom of the box, and I just took the paintbrush, and I would have the paintbrush here with the paint on it, and I would just tap it, and I would just throw paper or throw paint everywhere. And it gave me that starry night. And I still have sheets left I made, because this is, to me, going to be the best way, because I told you, I am trying to use every piece of paper up that I can. I mean, you can see some of these strips of paper are not very wide. And I said, you know what? They still are pretty. There's still some beauty in it. You can still see that there's like a holly leaf there. And then I just took a piece of a gold shimmer paper I've had and some gold foil that I actually took it out of my scrap bag and cut them out. And the base is some, I don't know if you can see, it's a brassy, bronzy kind of shimmer that I had left over. I just cut them out. And I thought, you know what? Christmas cards don't all have to be, you know, the Santas and the nativity scenes. Some people like different. And I thought, okay, there's, you know, there's the leftovers. So down to recap, how many styles? There's 1, 2, 3. We had all of these, which is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23 styles of cards. And you can get them from one 6x6 paper pack and the one envelope and card base pack, like I said, was this one. You could probably forgo this if you wanted. Personally, I found that the card to be a little thin of quality, especially for Stampin' Up. You could probably do the same look, just changing the background. And one of these add-on sticker journaling. So when I kept going, I probably could have got a 24th to make it a nice round number. So I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up. We have a lot more coming up. I will be doing some that are where I'm studio touring, but I will also do some that will show me constructing the cards. So have a nice afternoon, and look for more of us coming, more videos coming from Life of Crafting. Thank you.